Previously on Bird of Prey 5.
It's from CBS to me. Yes, YouTube. It's finally paying off. It's finally paying off. This is the Trek Yards money. This is it. I'm in. I'm in, baby. It tastes like latinum. As I was saying, if there was one word I could use to describe this last episode of Star Trek Discovery, the Red Angel, it's awfully good. The episode starts out in the shuttle bay where all the dark matter is gone, and I'm absolutely certain that it will never show up again, and clearly they probably just dumped the dark matter because that plot was going nowhere. And I love the fact that they play the same, not a trick, because it's a fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on me twice, right? That's the saying. So they fool us twice with the exact same logic 2 episodes in a row. Last episode they told us with absolute certainty visual logs of Spock killing the medical staff on the starbase could not have been faked. And of course, by the end of the episode, we realized they were faked. So of course they wouldn't ever do that exact same thing again because we'd see through it. So when they told us that absolutely there was no way to fake this medical scan or whatever, the brain scan, that it was impossible to fake, only an idiot would have thought, oh, they're playing the game, they're telling us the same lie, because as Garrick said, the point of the boy who cried wolf wasn't not to lie, it's never tell the same lie twice.
And now the continuation.
Hello YouTube, it's Bird of Prey 5, and welcome to the review of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 11, Perpetual Infinity. This episode starts out with it starts out with the usual previously on, but after that, the actual episode starts back with a flashback to young Michael Burnham and her parents on a Vulcan colony, basically just before the Klingons' attack. If you had closed captioning enabled like I did, you actually get to see the names of Michael Burnham's parents, previously, I believe, unknown. Her father's name is Mike. Yes, Michael, daughter of Mike. So Mike Burnham, with his lovely wife and mother to Michael Burnham, who we were introduced to at the end of the very last episode, Gabrielle. Gabrielle and Mike gave birth to Michael. Michael wakes up in the sick bay, where very newly reinstated Dr. Kolber is talking to her, and she thought all of what she saw her mother coming back to her was a dream, but she's like, that was real? Yes, it was real, Michael. Well, I want to see her, obviously. Nope, you can't see your mom, because for some reason your mom's being taken care of on the planet instead of being brought up to the spaceship that has all the good tech. But fine. So what about that whole thing about Dr. Kolber being 100% absolutely positively, with complete impossibility of being wrong? How could he have been wrong? How could the Red Angel have been Michael Burnham's mother and not Michael Burnham, who he was 100% sure had the exact same mental signature or something? How did this happen? How did this happen, Doctor?
You're incapable of that level of incompetence.
You are incapable of this level of incompetence, as Commander Riker might say. But no. Does he say, I don't know? Does he say, must have been the control planting a fake piece of data to throw us off, even though he also said this couldn't have been faked.
I can explain if you would just give me a moment.
No, you can't. Don't even try.
No, it's none of that. Instead of blaming it on something else or there being a reason that he has yet to understand, which would have been plausible, instead we're told, well, you know, mothers and daughters, they're very similar genetically. Yes. Mothers and daughters, very similar. 100% absolutely, positively certain to, well, it could have been your mother. I just,
Shut up!
Beg your pardon.
I said shut up! As in close your mouth and stop talking.
You guys are really alike because of that mitochondrial DNA. You know, had they mentioned mitochondrial DNA last episode, boom, it would have bopped into my head. Holy crap, that's Michael Burnham's mother. Because once they brought up mitochondrial DNA, if you know anything about biology, you know that the mitochondrial DNA comes only from your mother. Your father's mitochondrial DNA doesn't come into you, so you know, you like to think that you're 50% one parent, 50% the other, but your mitochondria, which is a tiny fraction of any given cell, is actually all from your mother's side. So you're kind of like, and I'm very much simplifying this, 51% your mother, 49% your dad. And technically it's probably even less than that. But had they even just mentioned mitochondria last episode, I could forgive them. But this was a flat out lie. It was a lie to our faces. They lied about so much that we've had to forgive them for. They lied about Spock never showing up in Discovery. They lied about so many things.
I had a cat named Snowball. She died. Mom said she was sleeping. She lied. Why it was?
They lied about it being in the prime timeline. And don't give me some bullshit about the prime timeline not being what we call prime. They knew what they were saying. Okay? I cannot take the lies to our faces. It is insulting. Every person who watched this show, who watched last week's show, who is paying CBS for the privilege of watching Star Trek Discovery should be outraged that they are being continuously lied to for no reason. There is no reason they had to tell us a lie. He could have said he was 99% sure it was Michael Burnham. He could have said it was 88% sure it was Michael Burnham. That would have been good enough. It would have still let the story go. He didn't have to say it was 100% Michael Burnham and couldn't possibly be faked, and makes him look like a terrible doctor, makes the show look terrible, and more than anything is a direct insult to us, the fans. I'm trying to give this show a fair deal. There were a couple of good episodes this season. It was a marked improvement from season 1, even with that $50,000 I got from last week from CBS. You know, I tried to give it a chance. I really did. But man, any good graces they had gotten from the previously decent episodes, oh, it's gone. It's so gone. And we're not even 2 minutes into this episode, and they've hurt me. They've hurt me, and they've hurt themselves. They've hurt the entire series of Star Trek. So while Michael is still in the hospital bed, I think Spock comes in, or somebody has the mission logs of Michael, maybe Pike. They both, I don't know. They come in and yeah, Pike comes in and has the mission logs. I guess that was attached to the mother's spacesuit somewhere. Time suit. Also a spacesuit, FYI. Yeah, so, yeah, I guess they just picked it off of her and brought it to Michael. I don't know. But she has 840-something mission logs to go through, and Pike says, well, Michael's best qualified to go through these logs for reasons. And, of course, these aren't just normal standard audio logs or even visual logs, both of which we've seen in, of course, other Star Trek The Next Generation, visual log, audio log, sure. No, these are holographic logs because why not? So we get to see in full 3D beauty holograms of Michael Burnham's mother going through and leaving logs, trying to explain what each mission for. Now, this review is going to be completely out of order because this episode was all over the place, and it doesn't even pay to try to do it in order. But the Michael Burnham's mother, so they were on the planet, and Michael Burnham is looking at the telescope, and she sees, oh, Mom, there's a new light in the sky. And Mother's like, oh, it's probably just a meteor. And, oh, by the way, she was working on the time suit, and she said she was just about ready to start trials, and Michael's father, Mike Burnham, he was there. Now, he didn't seem to know anything about science because apparently he didn't know, or he was just lying to his daughter, maybe to make her feel better when she was sprouting out facts about supernovas. He didn't seem to know that every second somewhere in the galaxy or the universe a supernova happens, which you would think for someone who was a scientist, they might know this, especially since they're researching this topic. But no, so either he's an idiot or he's just one of those parents that lies to kids. So Michael's so happy to see this light. Does the father, who seeming to want to promote her, want to encourage her, does he go over and say, oh, let me look, honey? No. Mother dismisses it. It's probably just a meteor. Until Michael, little Michael, says, oh, but this one is landing. And that's when the panic sets in, because the parents know they, I believe, stole this time crystal from the Klingons. And, of course, they see, and yes, it is a Klingon bird of prey. Not a real bird of prey, mind you. A twisted Star Trek Discovery, mangled continuity, like you put an actual Klingon bird of prey in a transporter in Star Trek the Motion Picture, beam it to that place where the transporter malfunctioned, and then the people says, what we got back here didn't live long, fortunately, type of way.
Starfleet, do you have them?
Enterprise. What we got back didn't live long, fortunately.
That mangled mess that came out of the broken transporter, that bird of prey, that was a Klingon bird of prey, lands. And apparently the Klingons actually didn't destroy an entire Vulcan colony like we were told multiple times in previous season and episodes. It was actually just a very surgical strike, just on a Section 31 outpost, because Michael Burnham's parents were working for Section 31. So yes, Section 31 outpost invaded by Klingons, actually seemingly a legitimate military target for legitimate reasons. And they didn't even kill her mother. No, they maybe killed her dad. We don't even know that for sure. The mother jumped away in the time suit. Her goal was to jump 1 hour into the past, to leave, to tell them to leave before the Klingons even came. But Gabrielle Burnham, the time expert, apparently didn't think ahead, because if she jumped 1 hour in the past to tell them to leave? Who is going to jump 1 hour in the past to tell them to leave? She's jumping right into the oldest problem with time travel, the grandfather paradox.
I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't even exist. But I do exist, which proves you can't really be my grandma.
Okay, if you jump back in time and kill your own grandfather, then how can you be born? Because your grandfather's dead. But why would your grandfather be dead if you were never born? And it's the biggest problem with time travel. And Gabrielle Burnham either completely ignores it, doesn't think of it, or just forgets. Okay? On the very first attempt of human time travel, you might say, hey, maybe I should wonder what happens if we try to grandfather paradox before I jump, because, I don't know, it could destroy the universe. Maybe it was her initial jump that causes all of this to happen to begin with. I don't know. But what we're led to believe is that the Klingons were blasting at her with their disruptors. And I assume the Klingon disruptor energy screwed up her time travel. So instead of appearing 1 hour in the past, she appears in 1885 Hill Valley.
First, let me assure you that I'm alive and well. I've been living happily these past 8 months in the year 1885. The lightning bolt... 1885! September 1885!
No, that's the wrong movie. She appears 950 years in the future in deep space. And yes, the time suit is actually a space suit, and it can fly through space, and it has 2 drones that launch out of the arm just so it can take a 3D hologram picture of you. And I guess it has warp travel because somehow she makes it to Earth and a bunch of other planets, despite there being no... She makes it very clear that in the future she went to, 950 years, she's visited Earth, Andoria, Vulcan, Teller Prime, the Tellarite homeworld, and like some other places, without a spaceship, mind you, without a starship, only with her time suit. And they're all gone. They're all destroyed. There is no life. No biological life. How did she get to these places? Her suit only travels through time, not space. So the only thing we can infer is that it's also a warp-capable personal suit. A warp-capable personal suit created 30 years before TOS. Honestly, this show just keeps piling on the garbage. And, you know, after the first season, I was willing to say, let's pave over that garbage. Let's call it a park. We'll landfill this. We'll put some sod over it. We'll call it a park. We'll put some swings on it and a merry-go-round and pretend it wasn't built on garbage and just move on to season 2. And you know what? In the beginning of season 2, I had the slightest bit of hope that maybe if we just forgot about all the garbage that we put under that grass, we could build something on season 2. But no, I should have remembered. You cannot build a foundation on garbage. And it was only a matter of time before all that garbage under that layer of sod rose up out of the ground and...
Dear Lord, please take Mr. Bunny up to heaven.
and destroyed that beautiful little park we had that we shared maybe 1 or 2 episodes of enjoyment in. And now the foul stench of season 1 and all of Star Trek Discovery has overcome us. And we now are grasping for air for our very lives, because this is what Star Trek Discovery has done to us. It just gets worse from here, people. I don't know how to say it. Star Trek Discovery cannot go 1 episode without retconning their own history, and it can't go 1 episode now without lying to us, because previously they lied to us on the last episode as well. So this is just their new normal, is just lying and retconning. So, to the Section 31 ship. Leland, last seen, stabbed in the eye. I thought he was dead. I was wrong. He's not dead. He apparently, I thought maybe he was taken over by Control. Apparently not. Apparently he was just stabbed in the eye because, and knocked out. I guess it was knockout gas in the eye. I don't know. I guess that was the most effective way for Control to knock out Leland, to incapacitate him, was a quick eye jab that comes out of the iris scanner, because of course that's the best place to put an eye jabber, you know, in case you get your password wrong 5 times. Like, you know, you try to sign on Google, you get your password wrong too many times, you get locked out. No, in the future, you get your eye scan wrong too many times, you get a freaking blade through the eye. That's your punishment. So yeah, he's been magically somehow tied up in some type of vertical thing, and held in place with, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's flying robots, so I guess if Control controls the entire ship, they just flew some of those maintenance janitor robots in to tie him up off camera. So holograms that are actually Control start talking to Leland, and they start off as Michael Burnham hologram, switch to a Captain Pike hologram, Saru. They go through all the people, and the hologram is basically telling Leland all of Starfleet, all 7,000 ships in Starfleet. When the Orville premiered, and they said that they had over 3,000 ships, and we like, wow, that's a lot bigger than Starfleet. No, not anymore. I guess Star Trek Discovery people watched the Orville and said, well, we need more ships than the Orville because, hell, we're Star Trek. So let's have 7,000 ships. And yet, 30 years later, there's never another ship around besides the Enterprise to go to Nimbus 3 or to go to the Nexus to save those transporters. There's never another ship around. It's always the Enterprise that gets stuck going to these things. Even though there's probably, I mean, at least 3,000 ships, if not more, by the time 30 years comes around. So, yeah, only the Enterprise later. It's ridiculous. I mean, this is it. It's just too ridiculous to even review, because there's nothing here. There's nothing here. So these holograms are telling him that they're going to control everything, and they make all the decisions, and as long as everybody follows the chain of command, which they will, they're going to win, because basically they just hologram or video chat with somebody, and yeah, they'll follow the commands, and they can look like anyone they want, so they can make anyone do anything, basically. So why do they need Leland? Well, that's a good question, and I'm still not sure. After watching and rewatching, they said that they need a human. That there's like, first they thought there was some physical things that they couldn't recreate. Like, they were able to do a convincing Vulcan, because, you know, Vulcans don't have emotion. So I thought that this was physically about recreating a passable human hologram. And they just needed him to make like facial tics and stuff so that they could duplicate it. But no, because they did a very passable Michael Burnham and Captain Pike hologram while telling him they needed him. So I don't know. I guess they really need him to know how humans think, perhaps, because they're not sure how humans think. Either way, here's the big fun. Here's the big fun. The special machine that I'm sure they always had on board for some reason injects this poor guy. I mean, Leland is an ass, but man, he gets stabbed in the eye one episode. He gets stabbed in the back of the neck in this episode. And what do they inject him with? Nanites. Nanites! Green glowing nanites. Are they Borg nanites? They damn well look like Borg nanites. I was 100% waiting for, and you saw them go through his bloodstream and his veins got dark, and I was just waiting for the Borg shit to pop out of his face and his hands. Did it happen? No, but maybe they needed him not to do that because they actually needed him to continue to look human when he goes and he speaks to Ash and Georgiou, because now he has been, I guess the nanites are controlling him. So he wasn't under control after getting stabbed in the eye. He's under control of control now. And so he tells Georgiou and Ash that they've got to rescue the data from the sphere. It's all about the sphere data that Discovery is trying to... Oh yes, this... See, this is where we're all over the place. Michael Burnham's mother is basically telling everybody that they have to destroy the sphere data, that the sphere data is what makes Control become super powerful, omnipotent, and sentient. And if Control gets a hold of the sphere data, it's all over. She's seen the future, and it's all bad. There is no way to win once Control gets the sphere data. So if they destroy the sphere data, then the future is saved. The future is saved. Skynet will never come online if they destroy the sphere data. So easy enough, right? Pike says the order's okay, just delete all the data, right? Well, of course they try that, but no, the sphere data is so intelligent. There's so much sphere data that it has gained sentience within Discovery's own limited computer frame, and it is fighting its own deletion. Fighting its own deletion. That hurt. I did not mean to hit it that hard. But I don't know what else to do, because the computer data, it's fighting its own deletion. So what do? Do they say, okay, well, there's another ship here, even though it's Section 31, escape pods, let's blow up the damn ship.
Jean-Luc, blow up the damn ship! No!
No. They should have, but no. Instead, Michael, Stamets, Ash, and Spock are in the Discovery laundry room. I mean, engineering. I mean that room Stamets has where he controls the spore drive. And by the way, all the spore things on the wall where they take the spores out, they're all blue again. So they're full with spores. They used to be, a lot of them were red. Every time you take out one of those spore things, it turns red because it's empty. But no, they're all blue, so all the spores are completely full. And they're debating or figuring out how can we solve this issue that's the biggest problem for this week, and that's how do we destroy the sphere data, but also save Michael Burnham's mother so she doesn't have to go back to the future. Oh, because, right, why would she have to go back to the future? Because the universe and time are alive. Yes, time Time is alive. Time is alive. And time itself is pulling Michael Burnham's mother in a literal tug of war. That is the words they used, a tug of war. Saru is saying it is a basic Newtonian second law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction through time. And the fact that Michael Burnham's mother came through time to get here, that time is now going to pull her back to the future, and it is inevitable, and there's nothing they can do about it. And they have to figure a way to, of course, fix the impossible. But wait, if time pulls you back to your old time, then why doesn't time pull Michael Burnham's mother from 950 years into the future back to the present where she left from during the Klingon attack? Why doesn't it pull her back to where the Red Angel suit was created? That's where she left from. If time was going to pull her somewhere, it should be pulling her there. No, for plot reasons, it doesn't pull you back to then. It pulls you back to when the writers want you to be pulled to, apparently. Oh, this episode actually has gotten worse since I've started talking about it. And I'm going to tell you, I started off freaking bad. After I watched this, I knew this was bad. Putting it into words is only making it worse. I don't even know why. I didn't even occur to me until I started talking. Why the hell isn't she being pulled back into the past instead of into the future? So what they decide is, oh, we could use dark matter. You know, that big dark matter asteroid that I said last week that they had emptied out of the shuttle bay so that they could hold the funeral, and that I was absolutely sure they would never bring up again because it clearly was never going to be involved in the plot, because surely they wouldn't have made such an oversight to remove the dark matter from the shuttle bay if they were going to use the dark matter again. But sure enough, no, they're going to use the dark matter. It's almost as if I knew this was going to happen last week. But yes, of course they need the dark matter. And of course they know how to use it because, yeah, I guess they've had some great ways of learning how to use dark matter. These last, I don't know, couple of weeks, they made great advances in dark matter technology. And that if they coat the transporter enhancers with dark matter, that'll solve all their problems. That will solve all of their problems. Just coat the shit in dark matter, and boom, we can beam Michael Burnham's mother to the present, and she can stay here forever. And man, my head still hurts. I should not have hit it so hard. Yes, so that's it. They're gonna solve it all with dark matter. Also on the Section 31 ship, Leland, who is now under control, tells Ash and Georgiou they've got to steal the data from the probe. So he gives Ash this super secret little piece of technology about the size of I don't know, like a silver dollar, but thicker. And of course it's black, and of course it lights up, and of course it makes noise, because that's what you want all your secret tech to do. And anyway, he beams down to the planet. He just puts it on the back of some cargo container. Apparently just being in the vicinity, it will pick up the Discovery Wi-Fi and copy the data to the Section 31 ship. Of course, Ash finally realizes that, hey, maybe this isn't the best idea, and he calls up to Georgiou on the ship. Georgiou also realizes that, and she had some inkling that Leland wasn't himself because he was making too much sense. And she knows he's an idiot. But this was smart Leland, so she already had some inkling he was taken over or something, but she was playing along. So they stopped the transfer. Leland figures out they stopped the transfer. Ash comes out of the room he was in. He goes back to Section 31 ship. talks to Georgiou. Georgiou beams down to the planet. Ash comes out of the room, and he's looking for Leland to his left. And of course, Leland is right behind him. Had he just turned around, he would have seen Leland actually sitting in a hallway with freaking metal pieces coming out of his mouth because reasons. Ash turns around just in time to see Leland's metal pieces get sucked back into his mouth. They fight, and Ash, the half Klingon, gets his ass kicked by nanite-enhanced Leland, who actually ends up stabbing him and then beaming down to the planet. So now Super Nanite Leland has to fight Georgiou, the Kung Fu ninja warrior. And I don't mean it because she's Asian. I mean it because she's actually doing Kung Fu looking moves. The Barzon security chief from the Enterprise, Michael Burnham, and I don't know, someone else. He goes down, and of course he's kicking total ass because he's nanite enhanced. They're shooting him. He took like 15 phaser blasts, and he's like invincible. It's like he's got the invincibility code in. But yet, Georgiou is able to kind of almost kick his ass. Why they keep going for phasers after phasers proved completely unusable, and like, you know, he just shrugs them off, yet they still think that, oh, if I just shoot him one more time with a phaser, it's going to work. Finally, they realize, oh, and he instead of having the little phaser, he breaks out the big phaser cannon, so he gets to shoot things. Then Michael Burnham's mother decides and finally convinces Michael they have to release her, that if she goes back to the future, she has at least another chance of stopping all this. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. Michael Burnham's mother is the one who put Discovery in, or put the, convinced Discovery to come to get the sphere data to begin with, because she thought Discovery could protect the data. I guess had Discovery not come along, the sphere would have found a Section 31 ship anyway. I don't know. That didn't make much sense. Also, Michael Burnham's mother claims to have no idea what those mysterious 7 red signals was about, even though Michael Burnham's mother confesses in this scene, and it's how she gets Michael Burnham to believe her that she has to go back to the future. Michael Burnham's mother says she was there, and she watched Michael Burnham as she graduated, and she watched Michael Burnham as she escaped and was on Vulcan, and she was there at all of the big important parts of Michael Burnham's life. Even though Michael Burnham couldn't see her, she was there. How was she there? Does the suit have a cloaking device? Because clearly there's a visual artifact every time she goes back to the past, besides the gravimetric distortions. There's so much else going on. There's bright red lights. How could she possibly have been watching Michael Burnham through all of this stuff? It is ridiculous. But I guess it has a cloaking device too. Why not? But she also didn't make any logs of those entries, you know. She didn't make a log. She only made 840 something logs. None of them were, today I went back to see my daughter graduate. No, she didn't go. She didn't make those logs. But whatever reasons, so they decide if they all have to shoot the containment generator together, that will destroy the containment field, and it will let the wormhole that they collapsed, and they told us, again, a lie. They told us they collapsed this wormhole last week. But apparently once the containment field is destroyed, the wormhole will reform and suck them back to the future. And they take down the containment field, and Leland gets off a lucky shot, and boom, phaser rifle right to the Red Angel suit. So the Red Angel suit seems destroyed. Too late, doesn't matter. Michael Burnham's mother still wants to go back to the future, and so the wormhole opens up, and the broken angel suit is sucked into the wormhole first, and Michael Burnham goes to touch her mom's hand, since they haven't actually been able to touch this whole time, since she's been behind a force field. And of course the mother then gets sucked up into the big red hole in the sky without the angel suit. So does she die? I mean, if she got sucked back to the same spot she was at, she was in the middle of deep space. If she doesn't have the suit on, she's just dead. Now, I think we all know she's not dead. And I think we all know the Red Angel suit isn't destroyed. So clearly, wherever they go, Mama Burnham must have time to fix the Red Angel suit and use it again. But for all practical purposes, she should be dead. And is it over? No, almost. Finally, Pike says, let's beam up all our people, except Leland, of course, because we don't want to beam him on board. So they beam the other people up, Michael and the security officer and Georgiou and whoever the fourth person was that I've already forgotten. And they beam up, and then that was pretty cool. They said, okay, now target it with torpedoes and fire. And they let down not one torpedo. One torpedo, mind you, bigger than a nuclear bomb. But they shoot like, I don't know, 5 torpedoes at this one building on the planet. The explosion from space is bigger than the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, you could see it's a planet. That the explosion is literally bigger than the state of Pennsylvania. And they said direct hit. Direct hit. Doesn't matter if it was a direct hit. They destroyed Pennsylvania. Doesn't matter if you targeted Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. It's all gone. It's all gone. It doesn't matter. Oh, but of course, right before, I mean, not before because she doesn't tell you to after, but after they thought for the millisecond, oh, good job, Leland is dead. Tilly says, oh no, I detected a transporter beam to the Section 31 ship. They don't even have a name for this ship. It's just the Section 31 ship. Like, it wouldn't be like to the Shinzo or the Enterprise or the whatever, the Archer. No. The Reed, maybe? The Reed would have been nice. No. It's just the Section 131 ship. I detected a transport to the Section 31 ship, and everybody's like, Leland. Of course it's Leland. And then the ship leaves, and Pike's like, follow it, and they're like, they mask their warp trail. We have no way to follow. Sometimes they can follow masked warp trails. Sometimes they can't. But they get a booty prize. They detect a escape pod, and of course it's Ash. Ash is still alive, though stabbed. He is in the escape pod, so they bring him on board the Discovery. And we finally get to the last scene. Michael Burnham, angry, this is it, angry in her bed. Wow, this timing worked out well. Angry in her bed, looking like a angered 12-year-old me might have done. Pissed off in bed, not wanting to do anything. When Spock comes in to cheer her up, and Spock utters words so cringeworthy, Hallmark would hesitate to put them on a greeting card, about nonsense, about the past and the future, and the now is the only thing that matters. It doesn't do much for Michael Burnham. But at this point, Spock bows, and he previously, Spock used to be the only foil for Michael Burnham. No longer. This is the point where Spock bows at the greatness that is Michael Burnham and concedes he is now a subject of Michael Burnham. There will be no more Spike Spock Burnham fights going forward. Spock is fully on Burnham's side now. He's basically apologized for everything he's ever done bad to her. So he accepts Michael as his savior, and he challenges her to a game of 3D chess. And that's where it ends. We don't know who wins. Maybe next episode. Probably not. I hope we don't find out. This entire episode has been a steaming pile of crap on top of crap on top of dead bodies that died by eating crap. And I don't know how else to put it. This isn't the worst episode of Star Trek Discovery ever, but it is maybe the second worst. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 1. Okay? It's a 1. Maybe a 0, but it doesn't deserve any points. I should take away points for the bold-faced lies, but why? What does it even matter? 1 out of 10. Done. Don't watch this. Don't watch Perpetual Infinity. Save yourself. Avoid the planet Earth at all costs. Avoid Perpetual Infinity at all costs.
Save your energy. Save yourselves. Avoid the planet Earth at all costs. Farewell.
Poor Spock. Poor Spock that had a backbone. Rip independent Spock. We hardly knew you. Oh, and how did I forget this? How did I forget this? Michael Burnham's mother is talking in her log that Spock is now reading. And she says that Spock is the only person she's ever been able to communicate with. Yes, Sassy, it's okay. It's bad, but you'll be okay. We'll survive. Spock is the only person she's ever been able to communicate with. Yeah, I know, Sassy. I know. It's okay. Just let me finish. Let me finish, Sassy. Spock is the only person she's been able to communicate with because Spock has super dyslexia powers. Only the fact that he's half human, half Vulcan, and dyslexic makes him the only person in the universe she could possibly communicate with because only he has the powers to understand time displacement, even though she has been doing nothing but communicating with people this entire episode. But only Spock can grasp her concept. Yeah, I almost forgot to say that. I almost forgot. Super dyslexia powers, not making it up. That is legit. Oh, and we got a gratuitous shot of the guy in the wheelchair who just rolls through every now and then. This poor bastard, stuck in a wheelchair in the 23rd century when they have cyborg people that can have, he could have cyborg legs if he wanted. And you know what? Even if he didn't want the cyborg legs, they have flying robots. Just slap a flying drone to each arm and hey, you could fly around the ship. Why do you have to wheel yourself around the ship? No, he's got a wheel. Poor guy. I don't know. He must have the worst health insurance in the Federation. That he is still in a manual wheelchair, wheeling himself around Discovery when people can fly and people are given bionic limb replacements. Oh, and it hits me hard because, you know, obviously I'm in a wheelchair myself. And I look to the future with hope. I mean, they already have exoskeletons here in 2019. Okay, in 10 years, hopefully people paralyzed will be walking using current day technology. And for all these stupid advanced tech in Star Trek Discovery of flying orbs and time crystals and total bullcrap, the fact that they can't give a paralyzed person a little bit of hope and say, holy shit, at least you won't have to still be in a wheelchair in the 23rd century? No, no. We've made so much progress everywhere else in science and medicine, but not you people in wheelchairs. You're still going to be in wheelchairs. F you, CBS. F you, Discovery. I'm done. I'm done. Qapla. Thank you all for watching my video. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell icon. Without it, you won't get notifications of new videos. If you want to visit me, check out my forum at juot.net. I'm also on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Gab. And if you're really crazy, you can send me some money on PayPal. Take care.